Hello, everybody. Welcome to American Barbell Unleashed. My name is Phil Patty from American Barbell, and I'm sitting here with Charlie the Cannibal Campbell. How are you?
Correct. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you. Great. Thanks for being here. So tell everybody, who is Charlie the Cannibal? Give us a little backstory.
All right. Well, I could definitely take the rest of your night if you wanted me to, but I'll make it short and sweet.
Okay.
I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30 last week. I've been in martial arts since I was 7. I began wrestling at the local recreation center, Pee Wee League, and it was a little bit of a love-hate. I put a lot of pressure on myself at a young age, but I was performing. It wasn't the healthiest mentally. I'll talk a lot about that and how I developed skills and performance and the mental side of things, but started training when I was 7 years old. I could say I started at 7 wrestling. My high school program and my public school did not have a wrestling program in the middle school and high school level, so I started doing jiu-jitsu, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Of course.
And the place I went to had a Muay Thai and boxing program side by side with it, so I really was there every day after school, and I fell in love with the striking, the boxing, the kickboxing, the Muay Thai fighting. So I've been training ever since. I could say I started at 7. I was watching the UFC and Pride Fighting Championships when I was very young. I was surrounded by men all my life. My dad wasn't around, so my uncles took over, big fight fans, big combat sport fans, and I was surrounded by them and their friends, ordering boxing events, and I was watching at a young age. I fell in love with it.
Wow. So what's a little history as far as climbing up the ranks, and what does that look like?
So right now, I believe I'm ranked like 81 out of 100 in the lightweights in the world. Now that climbing, you ask, could be done pretty quickly in the UFC if you're making a big splash and you're winning in an impressive, dominant fashion. I know I could show you, many guys that have climbed from outside of 100 up to, a title contender in 5 fights,
Wow.
right? So I can go from 81 or 82, wherever they have me at, to the number 1 contender in potentially 3 fights. So I just need to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm on a 3-fight win streak. I'm 2-0 in the UFC. I've had a lot of ups and downs in my career, man, but that's what's made me as tough as I am now. And I'm a student. I'm a student at life, learning this sport, and everything that anyone's got to teach me. I'm a sponge.
Interesting. So educate me a little bit. When you talk about UFC and MMA, what's the difference? How does that correlate? How does that tie in?
I'll make it pretty clear for you. So let's talk about football for a second, right? Football is the sport, the NFL is the organization.
Got it.
So MMA stands for mixed martial arts, right? So boxing is a martial art, wrestling is a martial art. When you mix them, you combine them, that's where it takes place in the cage most of the time nowadays. It used to be in a ring in Japan. Pride Fighting Championship started that. Brazil had a league years and years ago. But mixed martial arts, MMA is the sport. The UFC is the top organization or the top league. Pretty much. There is the difference is one's a league of the other. Yeah.
So when you first started, you were not in that league. Where do you start in the beginning? I mean, as soon as you decided you wanted to be
That's such a great question.
a UFC champion fighter, right?
Yeah.
Or a fighter for the UFC.
Yeah.
At the top ultimate level, what organization did you join first?
Yeah, I'll talk all about that. But you know what's so funny is the question you had a second ago is one that a lot of people have, and that's the credit to how strong the UFC's marketing is. That people just identify them as the sport, right? The UFC is really the organization. There's other competing organizations that you just don't even know of.
Right.
But they're so strong, everyone relates what's going on. Oh, they're doing UFC, and they're doing MMA. These kids are doing MMA in their backyard. They're not doing UFC. UFC is a league.
Right.
Really
right.
premier, top league. Now, the journey getting there was crazy. It starts with making an impression with your coaches, surrounding yourself with the right ones. That, in general, takes time to find the right people. You want to get surrounded with people that have achieved the things you want to achieve, right? So I had to get in a training room with other athletes that have done the things I wanted to do. That was tough. I was over in Long Island. I found Aljamain Sterling, Al Iaquinta. He was from Wantagh. I'm from a town called East Rockaway. But there was other guys from Long Island. Chris Weidman was from Baldwin. I don't know if you've heard of these towns, but Al Iaquinta mentioned Wantagh, about 5 miles from where I grew up. Chris Weidman, Baldwin, 4 miles from where I grew up. Aljamain Sterling from Hempstead, Uniondale, 3-4 miles from where I grew up. So I'd heard these names as
These
I was.
were trainers?
They
or
were athletes
fighters?
in the UFC.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I
they were
said,
fighters.
I said, wow, they're training in Garden City, New York. I need to go there. And again, that was like 8 miles from my house. So I I got lucky. I'd say it came with a little bit of luck, but I had to apply myself and do the work. Don't get me wrong. But I will say I'm very fortunate that I had mentors and guys like those that I could not only look up to, but train with and get advice from. And you've just got to, commit yourself. When you find someone that you want attention from or you want guidance from, you're not going to get that unless you commit yourself. Then they'll commit to you. So I had to do that tenfold before I can get even some notice and respect from them. And I appreciated that process of being noticed. And then it grew as I fought on the regional circuits. I'm from the East Coast, so there's a really great organization called the Cage Fury Fighting Championships, CFFC. They're known as like a farm to the UFC. So if you can go there and fight in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and do well against the regional talent, then you could earn yourself a chance to maybe fight in the UFC, and that's what I did for a while. So, but growing up as a kid, I took countless kickboxing fights, just independent martial arts alone before I got to combine them and to do MMA. Right, countless wrestling matches growing up, countless jiu-jitsu competitions and tournaments, just gaining experience.
So you don't just decide you want to be in the UFC. You have to.
No, not happening.
So you earn that.
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, now I'm clear. I wanted to just be sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's funny when you talk about respect of trainers. I'm the same way in my own right, where I love to teach people how to sell my product. But if they don't have the attention span, I'm out very quickly. They've got to commit. And I tell people all the time, it's like if you go to a university, you study so you can pass your exams. I get people that want to sell and they don't want to learn anything. I don't understand it. But not everybody's passionate about what they do.
I was just going to say that it is passion. You can't teach someone to care about a certain something. Maybe people go to school, right? They go to a university for a certain something, and then they're at a full-time job years later, and they realize they don't love what they do, and that's an unfortunate thing, and they just stick it out because now they've got family and they're doing this. They can't switch. Maybe it's too late for them to go back. They can't just stop what they're doing, stop working. But so I don't know who it is you're coaching and dealing with, but I mean, if they're are not wholeheartedly passionate about the industry and the equipment, then I don't see it possible for them to apply themselves.
You've got to get people to buy into the passion. That's a big thing. I was just talking to somebody, ironically, one of the investment bankers yesterday, and she looked at me and she said, "You're so passionate about your product." And I said, "I've been accused of that on several occasions." You have to. And it gets people to buy into what you're all about, right? If you're really good at what you do or you want to be really good, people do buy into that passion for sure, instead of what we call smoke and mirrors. There's so much smoke and mirrors.
Yeah,
so,
maybe there's a lot to say about that. We could go down a rabbit hole.
That's
in this country, it's just like that should be the norm. However, you're standing out because the average person in today's day and age just floating upon what they're doing, trying to get a paycheck. And I think that it gives maybe a benefit and an advantage to guys like you and I who are like obsessed with what they're doing, and then now you look like abnormal. This is like insane. How could this guy care so much?
Yeah.
Because you know.
That's all I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Obsessed is the correct word for sure.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, tell me about what does your training regimen look like as far as with weights, bars, dumbbells, bands, balls, whatever, powerlifting. What does it look like?
Yeah, it's funny. So I'd say majority, maybe 90% of my sessions are doing the martial arts movements, right? These are full body exercises, right? And sessions, but it's nothing like these cardio classes you've seen. I mean, I have a lot of impact that's happening and on a safe level. I mean, you have to get kicked. You need to, even if you block a kick correctly, I mean, you're some wear and tear on your body. So we try to do it to a safe manner. But what I'm trying to say is a lot of my sessions are, boxing related or wrestling related, nothing around weights or even a kettlebell or a dumbbell or
really?
Nothing. 90% of my sessions, 2 sessions a week are our level of strength and conditioning might be different from what you define it as, but the UFC's got a protocol we stick with. A lot of fighters do some off campus training on their own with other trainers. I just got here about 6 weeks ago, so I'm with the UFC's protocol. I'm enjoying it. Maybe a workout will be like maybe the climax of the workout would be like 2 sets of a circuit, and one would be, some sort of box jump into a row, into a some sort of core with planking involved. It's very different for me. And then maybe they'll fit the Airdyne bike at the end. I grew up doing some of the essential, like, let's say, strength movements,
right,
which is great. I was mentioning too, I worked at a gym growing up. I worked there. Let me just make sure I get this right. I mean, it's somewhere between like 7 and 10 years. I lived at this gym because it was up the block from where I grew up. So this small family-owned business, they were nice enough to give me a job when I was in middle school. I stuck with them until, unfortunately, they closed during COVID, and then the owner, one of the two owners, passed away. It's a little sad story, but I loved bodybuilding, and I loved doing,
weightlifting.
Yeah, I always did. I showed you pictures of this facility. Maybe we'll add them somehow. I'll send them to you. But it's, for me, I can't be doing too much of that. Not too much of it. I think it is very important to do strength training. Don't get me wrong, for my sport, but I can't do too much of it because the whole idea is to stay loose and tap into the...
Does it reduce flexibility if you gain...
Potentially, yeah. If you're not...
Is that the story? It'll gain too much muscle, so you got to watch...
Maybe for some people. Right. Maybe some people's bodies are built like that, but we're really trying to tap into that type 2 muscle fiber, fast twitch muscle fibers. And honestly, the sport is fighting. It's the ultimate fighting championship. If it was ultimate swimming championship, I'd be in the pool every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't do the things that bodybuilders are doing. They can't jump on and do 20 rounds on a bag. It's just a different sport. So you need to get your body really, really plugged into doing those movements and tapping into those muscle groups and specific fibers involved in those movements, right? So 90% of my stuff is nothing to do with, sadly, nothing to do with the...
That's funny. So how do you bulk up, or how do you get stronger? Is it just from the body movements?
I'd say that we're using, I don't have a way to measure it, but I'd say
training and
some of that's involved into just the
training.
Activation warm-ups and the strength and conditioning sessions, but the wrestling workouts, man, my leg, I'm sore the next day from the very bottom of my calf all the way up to my neck. You know what I mean? I am using all those muscle groups for sure. So, with the diet involved, God willing, I'm holding on to a lot of that muscle. And I would love to show you some of the strength and conditioning protocols that we're doing and programs that they have for us. I would like to think I'm maintaining most of my muscle when we do our weight cuts, which is a whole nother thing. And I have to stay at a certain point. I really can't afford to get too much stronger because that's going to come with adding some weight. And
jump a class.
Yeah, right. We don't want that.
You don't want to jump a class. That's not a bad idea.
But I'll tell you, when the day comes that I can do what I want with my body, let's put it that way. I love how I feel now. I love how I get around. But when the day comes, maybe it comes with when I'm not fighting anymore. I'll have a garage that looks like what you just showed me downstairs. That's where my heart is.
Yeah.
A lot. I love that feeling, man. So.
Well, it's all part of weight training anyway. The industry has changed so much. And what I like about it now is, I tell people all the time, the fitness industry, gym training, fitness centers started way back in the day. Now it's probably 70, 80 years ago, lifting weights, bars, and dumbbells, doing pull-ups, and it all came back. Everybody got funny with all the machines and all the different, gimmicks, if you will. And now weights, bars, and dumbbells, platform training, deadlifting, squatting, Olympic weightlifting, and that doesn't mean heavy to competition levels. It just means the motions, the correct form. All that's come back really strong. So it could be rubber band training. I've seen people that do nothing but stretch and use rubber band training and get strong as crap. That's why I was just curious as to how that worked. So you spar and or are wrestling, fighting as part of the training during the week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that. Okay.
Oh, God, yeah.
Now I understand.
Majority of the time, yeah.
So now that you've had a chance, because we met a couple weeks ago, and I told you what I did, as far as building equipment, now that you had a chance to see it, what's your take on what you see?
I already had a high expectation because of how much you spoke about it, but blown away. I had a feeling in the way you were talking about it that you'd put a lot of time into making sure everything's, done at the highest standard. but I had just met you, so I said, let me check the stuff out, and no, it's nice, man. It's those are serious. I don't know the verbiage, but you said that the pivot points. I'm noticing
Everything.
the angle of the seat, everything from the where the leather is stitched and the welding. Oh my God.
Biomechanics.
No, I could see, man. I could see. I thank God I've been around this stuff long enough to know what high quality stuff looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. It takes a lot to get that all to come together. And I've said, hopefully I'm not redundant as heck on these podcasts to tell people that there's so many people that are so new that jump into the game, and the public's not aware of the time it takes to build stuff that will hold up to some of. I mean, you build stuff for the Raiders football camp or the Chargers or whoever it may be. You've got some animals. I mean, you ought to see some of these high school kids that are training and that are throwing around 150-pound dumbbells and bench pressing 450 a set of 8. I mean, there's some strong athletes. So what I've always done is built products that can withstand to that. That's what I've done. But I appreciate that you zoomed in on the cosmetics, the overall look, and no, we've got a lot of fun things that we can do together. As I said, love to have you come in here and just play around or bring anybody that's interested in seeing what we do.
Oh, 100%.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
For sure, yeah.
So going forward, where are you going from here? What are we going to watch for you to? What's your next move? Next upcoming bout?
Yeah. So I will have a fight booked from, either 4 or 8 weeks from now, right? So there's my opportunity to shine, show what I could do, continue climbing. And that's all I can really focus on that I'll even share, right? Because I shouldn't look too far beyond that. I have a vision for my 2, 5, 10-year goals, everything like that, what I know I can accomplish, what I can obtain. But it's one fight at a time, one day at a time, right? So all I'm focused on is being present right now, getting home safe. I do a lot of psychology training. So I could tell you all about what I want to do in 5, 10 years, but really, what does that matter if I don't make sure I don't get hurt tomorrow? So
yeah.
I'll perform my best in whether it's August or September, if it has to be as far away as October, that's okay. I'm getting better every day.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. This sport though, it's very easy to get forgotten about in this sport. They have an event 3 out of 4 weekends in a month, right? So there's so many events, there's so many fighters, so many other lightweights coming in. Some are getting released. I mean, there's so many fights every weekend. So it's easy for the audience, the majority, let's say the not the hardcore fans, so they call them like just the average fans that tune in every weekend that don't know a lot about it, but what do they call that level of a fan? Do you know what I'm talking about? No,
I don't know.
No? It's I forgot the word. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is it's easy for people to kind of forget who you are,
sure.
But it's even easier to get remembered because it just takes one punch, So I'm looking forward to that, and that's all that matters is the next one.
You got to focus on the next fight and make sure you win that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole goal. I get that loud and clear. Yeah, if you think too far beyond, you're not going to pay attention to what's important in the moment, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we're going to be watching Charlie the Cannibal fly up the chain. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
You're the best. Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. Tune in every week for we have a lot of episodes coming.